I had a follow-up email from somebody who passed on a message through my forum via the contact form, following up from one of the videos that I made, saying how I thought that vinyl was overpriced. And he pointed out that in the 80s, when I stopped buying vinyl, and they were £6 an album generally, that if you allow for inflation, that's about £27, £28 now, which is a fair comment. However, if you think that CDs of the same era were twice the price of vinyl at 12, 13, £14, then by rights they should be in excess of £50 now, whereas in fact a brand new release you can usually get for about £12, and later, after the furore has died down over a new release, you can usually get them for £6 or £7. And certainly, as I've mentioned before, there are loads in charity shops which can be accessed for £3 for £1, £5 for £1 in some of the charity shops. So having thought about this, I thought, well, let's actually see if I can find some albums that I want to buy at around or under the £15 mark. And I think I've been quite successful. And I was pleasantly surprised by the actual choice in under £15 and in fact under £10 for albums that I could actually buy. And these are albums I actually wanted to buy, not just bought because they were cheap. Now, I did go into HMV, as I explained some time back, but I didn't find the experience particularly enjoyable because, A, everything seems to be misarranged, or if you like, I went to the jazz section. I usually gravitate towards the jazz section first, and there was loads of stuff in there which I wouldn't consider in the slightest to be jazz, and then go to the heavy rock section, and there's stuff in there that I'd never heard of, and all the classic albums, or the classic albums from classic bands, I thought were hideously overpriced. Certainly the reissues. Now, I don't need many of the reissues because I've got most of the early Led Zeppelins and Rolling Stones and so on. Unfortunately, cover damage due to, as I explained in a previous video, some flooding that I had in the house. But anyway, back to the can I get some decent albums for £15? Well, yeah, the first album I bought, other than the ones I've already talked about in the previous videos, but they're part of this as well, was a David Bowie live album. Now, I have to say that this was 5 pence over the £15, £15 and 5 pence. But the track listing is great. Space Oddity, Rebel Rebel, Ashes to Ashes, Fashion, Life on Mars, Let's Dance, Ziggy Stardust, Young Americans, Suffragette City, Heroes, Changes, and Gene Genie, which is great, great session. This was also a recorded in 1990 in Milton Keynes, a live album, and I had high hopes for the pressing, as this was a simulcast, I believe they call it, where it was broadcast to America at the same time as the concert was live. So you'd have hoped there'd have been some good quality recording equipment in the offing, so they could have got a decent sound quality on the album from the master tapes. Unfortunately, I think they've crammed a bit too much on here. There's 27 minutes on one side and 25 minutes on the other side of the album, 25, 26 on the B side, and the pressing sound quality is a bit thin and anemic, and made even worse by the inclusion of Adrian Bello on guitar, who seems to be doing some completely inappropriate guitar work from my perspective, quite harsh and screechy and not at all in keeping with the songs, but hey, that's just one of the things. The second album, I should explain that I couldn't find a CD version of that. The second album I bought, also a live one, but in this case, it's done correctly. Now, this is the Charlie Daniels Band, and I've got to say I have a liking for straight Southern rock. And this is the band that did The Devil Went Down to Georgia and so on. But this is recorded beautifully. The album cover itself is nice. And unfortunately, it's on coloured vinyl, which is never a favourite of mine. But only 12 songs on this double album. I say double album. It's actually 3 sides. So one side is completely blank. But even allowing for the coloured vinyl, the recording quality is absolutely superb, and it does in fact sound very, very good. And by having only 4 tracks on each album side, it allows them to really raise the quality of the recording. Now that one I bought for £7.21, again from Amazon. Couldn't find a CD version of it, but I looked online yesterday and noticed it had gone up to £26.95. So got that one just in time. Another album I bought, and this is astonishing value. Now, if you like jazz, particularly hard bop, or either love Lee Morgan, this is certainly something that you should look out for. This is Terrell Stafford. It's called Brotherly Love, and it's celebrating some of Lee Morgan's work. And this is a true limited edition on heavy duty vinyl. The sleeve itself, the card, is astonishingly thick. The whole package weighs a lot, and this is numbered 244 of a 500 run. So I say again, a true limited edition, and excellent value, excellent sound quality. And I paid $9.99 for that. And again, looking on Amazon yesterday, it's still available at $9.99. So Terrell Stafford, Brotherly Love, double album. Get a copy now. That's astonishingly good. Now, keeping in with the country theme, the next album I bought cost me £5.04. And this is Randy Rogers and Wade Bowen, Hold My Beer, Volume 3 and Volume 4. Again, it's country, it's well recorded, nothing too special about it, but certainly something I will be playing again. And at £5.04, no CD available. And I just wonder where volumes 1 and 2 are, because I couldn't find any mention of those anywhere on the internet. No CD available. Yesterday, the price had dropped to £4.76. The next one was something slightly different. This is a compilation of artists on the ACT label, ACT is a bit like ECM. It's a German label, specialises in modern jazz, and apart from the really rather strange cover art, a superb album. Now again, I paid £5.52 for this, and the CD at the time available was £13, so I went with the vinyl version, because I was, looking for vinyl purchases under the £15 limit. So exceptional quality recording, very, very good. Yesterday checked, and it's now £20.41. Here's one I've mentioned on several occasions. Gilligan Moss, Speaking Across Time. This is the clear vinyl version, the crystal vinyl version, which I didn't enjoy at all because of the odd effect it had when it was spinning on the turntable. It had me reaching for my strobe disc to make sure there was nothing wrong with the speed stability of my turntable. But again, very good album. £8.55 paid for that one. Current price £23.71, and again, you can't get a CD version of it. It's only available to stream or download. Another interesting album, a band I'm quite new to, the Lathams. I would say this is a sort of, from my perspective, a cross between the House Martins and the Proclaimers. This is a double album, which has the normal album on the first album, and on the second one it's got some Abbey Road Unplugged editions. Now there's only 3 on each side, and whereas the album, this is on yellow vinyl, whereas the album itself is okay quality, the Abbey Road Unplugged versions on the second disc are so much better and are just really quite dynamic in comparison. Now this I paid £11.35 for. CD price was £13.99, and even now I think you can still buy it for just over £11. So again, good value. Creedence Clearwater Revival live album. When was this? This is the 1970 concert at the Albert Hall. Again, a band that I really do like. CD price was £13.99. LP price was £12.56. Recording quality's okay. I would have liked a bit more audience reaction in there, but you know, you can't have everything. But as I say, for £12.56, not a bad buy at all. A slightly different album. This is Southern Energy Ensemble, which is a sort of heavy funk with some jazz leanings in there, certainly some very hot trumpet work, and very, very enjoyable. The recording is good quality, the pressing is really good, and this was £12.74, but you could get a CD for under a £5. And this is one of the ones I used as to see whether the CD was as good as the LP, and as far as I'm concerned, the CD actually sounds a bit better. So if you think you might like this, then perhaps go for the CD version. Now, the Zombies have a new album out. It's been out for a little while. A different game. $6.99, and it's still $6.99. CD is under a £5. So either way you look at it, a bit of a bargain. The album is not quite as like some of their earlier stuff. I mean, they're obviously getting on a bit now, and that is reflected in some of the vocal content. But a very enjoyable album. So again, at $6.99 from Cooking Vinyl, a cooking album. A bit of an obscure one, Heavy Weather, oh sorry, Steady Weather. This is something that I saw, so I just went onto YouTube, listened to the album, and I really enjoyed it. So this is one of the few albums I didn't buy from Amazon. I got this from a large online retailer who I won't be using again because A, it took them an age to send it, and B, it was only packaged in a thin mailer, just a straight cardboard mailer, and it arrived with the corners a bit bent. Whereas all the Amazon ones have come in mailers with crumple zones all around them, i.e. the album is surrounded by card, and also there's a good area of card around to absorb any damage, plus quite often they're double packed anyway. So that's Steady Weather. The next album, but I haven't got it with me because it was not available in the UK at a reasonable price, but I did find a copy in Germany. Now it's by an artist called Tiken Jah Fakoly, I hope I've pronounced that right, who's an Ivorian. I assume that's means it comes from the Ivory Coast. Certainly here all the singing is in French. And the reason I settled on this one is I heard something playing in the background, and I really quite enjoyed it. It was obvious what the song was. It was An Englishman in New York, the Sting song, but it was sung in French, but it had some really interesting instruments playing, and I quite enjoyed it. So I hit Google, did the listen, tell me what song's playing, and it turned out to be this artist, Tiken Jah Fakoly, live album, and I tracked down a copy under my £15 limit in Germany for £3.30, but I had to pay £2 postage. So that is somewhere out there on its way to me. And the final album that arrived today is New Street Adventure. I don't know how this band passed by. This is the 10th anniversary issue of this album on Disgusting Green vinyl, transparent Disgusting Green vinyl, which actually isn't badly recorded and is surprisingly clean. However, this is one of the reasons why you should always clean new vinyl and put it in a new inner sleeve. There was so much debris on the surface of the vinyl, and subsequently there must have been quite a bit of it inside the card liner that it was supplied with. I think I've got a picture somewhere, I might try and flash it up. But certainly it couldn't be wiped off and needed a significant clean before it could be played. And I'm afraid that if you played it, you'd probably end up rejecting it for the pops and clicks because of all the debris that was on the surface. And then if you put it back in the sleeve, if you were happy with it once you wiped it, put it back in, it would pick up some more debris because there was quite a lot that fell out of the inner sleeve. But nevertheless, stunning album, even though it is in yucky green. So those are the purchases I've made, all under, apart from the David Bowie, £15. A good selection, diverse selection. Not one of them had a bad warp, although one or two had a slight warp, but not enough to spoil the enjoyment or make it audibly noticeable. And every one of those I'm really pleased with. So yes, you can still buy LPs under £15 and in a lot of cases under £12. But obviously if you see one, it pays to jump on it quite quickly because, as I've said, a lot of these have gone up since I've bought them. Now, I'm still looking in charity shops when I go past one, and I have actually made a couple of purchases recently. Another country album, The Judds. Not my favourite band, but I quite enjoy the harmonies and so on. And that one was £1. And as I say, very enjoyable. But another album that I did pick up, now I paid £2.50 for this one, which is Cuban Fire by Stan Kenton. Now, this album is the same age as me. I'm 69 years old, and some of the playing on here is brilliant. Unfortunately, it has suffered over those 69 years, and although there's no dramatic damage on the surface of the album, it has been obviously well played. But this is the very reason that I bought the third arm to fit to my turntable, so that I could play albums like this, which are still excellent to listen to and not wear out on these sorts of albums by rather expensive cartridges and stylus tips. But anyway, an oldie, but certainly a very goodie, with some amazing brass playing on there. Really good drummer as well, and some nice Afro-Cuban rhythms. Very interesting album. So that finishes talk about my haul. Very pleased with my purchases of under £15 albums, or £15 albums and under. But I don't think I'll be buying too many more. I'll probably now go more towards the CD side of things, as whilst buying all of these, I've bought quite a few second-hand CDs at the same time, bolstering my collection. 8 in all, I think, and quite a diverse selection. But we're discussing the vinyl, so I won't go into those. But there are bargains out there if you look for them. And certainly I'm more than happy to buy mine from Amazon. Some excellent albums available at really low prices, and they've always arrived better packaged than on some of the independent online retailers have provided in the past. So well done, Amazon. So that's it from me. Bye.